I really would like to say it's really an honor to be here and to present the calabash Android. And so what I will talk about is in general about test automation for Android apps in general. And I will also talk a little bit about the context, so why we do it and how we do it and what's the general idea behind it. And yeah, before I start, I just would like to ask, so who does not have installed the eBay app on his mobile device? No. So there's still room for improvement. So just before I start, some facts about eBay. So we're a very young company. We're based in California, and overall we have about 28,000 employees. And that sounds a lot, but also PayPal, GSI Commerce, or Mobile.de are parts of the eBay family. And so that's where the number is coming from. And interesting is, so for us, mobile is really, really important. So it's maybe hard to read. It's our new presentation style. I just get used to it. So I probably need to increase the screen, the font size a little bit. So, but in general, the mobile e-apps has been downloaded more than 100 million times, and our mobile transaction volume will double this year to $10 million, and about every week are 1.7 million items listed using mobile devices. And so for us, really, mobile is very, very important. And yeah, we also transact a lot of money on the mobile devices. And so my name is Dominic Berry. I work in the quality engineering team at eBay, and I'm a software developer. Yes?
Sorry for interrupting. Do you have some numbers in the breakdown of that 1.7 million item posted from mobile devices regarding iOS and Android, or even in Windows Phone?
I haven't looked into the details for a while. The last time I looked it up, so a lot of the transactions were on the iPhone side. So that's still a huge driver. Then there's Android and iOS, and Windows Phone and BlackBerry. We have apps in these areas, but there's not so much transaction volume. Okay. So in our team, we test only Android and iPhone, or the iOS platform and the Android platform.
Yes.
And so I work in the quality engineering team in Europe, and so we test the European platform, and I'm a software developer in test, and I look at the Android test automation. And so if you have afterwards any questions, please drop me a mail and I will answer it. So in our team, we had some challenges in general in mobile testing, and I just would like to describe them to give you a kind of context. So we are in our team are responsible for 12 European sites. And so that means every app needs to be tested in these or for this site. And so we have to write a lot of test code, and also, yeah, we need to think about the different locales and so on. And the challenge is there that the features are same but different. So yes.
So which one's the 12th country?
So in Belgium, they are speaking French and Dutch.
Ah, so 12 cultural contexts.
Yeah. And so that's really the challenge that we have. So there are also a lot of art companies and also successful mobile apps. And most of the products where I know where this functional test automation is used is where you don't have so much localized context. And we really need to test this, and the features are different, and that's the kind of challenge that we have. We are used to this kind of challenge because we are also looking at the normal website. So we have there also test automation running. So we have experience with this, but still kind of context for mobile, this is also different. I guess this mobile, the device diversity, that's something that everyone has, this kind of challenge. So also if you compare the iOS platform and the Android platform on iOS with the introduction of the Retina display in the iPhone 5, you have the different screen sizes, but there the advantage is, okay, you have only one manufacturer. On the Android side, yeah, all the different operating system versions, the different manufacturers and so on, all the operating system modifications. So that's really the challenge on the device side. And that's also very often a question that people ask, so do you test on devices or do you test on emulators? And yeah, we found out that in the iOS context we are using the simulator. So there we have seen that the simulator is easy to use, fast enough, and also the simulator is coming from the same manufacturer than the phone. So there for us okay. So there in the iOS world we're using the simulator, and on Android because a lot of manufacturers are changing the UI and having here some changes. For us it's really important to have a testing framework that you can also run on real devices. Currently at the moment we focus on the virtual, so on the emulator part, but we are prepared to run also everything on devices.
On the hardware device, do you compare them? Do you root them, for example?
No, we don't root them. Yeah, so I have later on an architectural picture where you see how it's working.
Do manufacturers come to you knowing that it's a big fail if your system doesn't work on their device? Because you are fairly canonical for payments on the web. Could you outsource your testing to them to some extent?
So, not that I know this kind of thing. So currently, so I have later on I say also something about manual testing. How do we do this? So I guess it's that's already the next slide. So the thing is, for us, manual testing is really important. So I know this talk is about test automation, but also especially in the mobile field, you need to test in a manual way. We do it in the beginning that the feature testing is done in a manual way. So we use this also to learn the new product. And if we know how the product works, then it's really easy, or it's easier to automate the product. And we are looking at the user statistics and by the 5 top devices. And with them we have already a good coverage. And also we look at what kind of special devices are there. For example, the Galaxy Note with the large display and this kind of stuff. And with this we can handle it in some way, but still you have a lot of devices that you have there that you need to test. And we just buy them. And during manual testing we focus on the functionality, the layout, user experience, and the localization. Because what I've already said, that we're the European quality engineering team, we test the web. There's also an application called Turbolister. It's a Win32 application. We test this as well. And then we also test the mobile web, the iOS app, and the Android app. And because our team is spread around Europe, and we're coming from different countries, and so we have this in-depth European platform knowledge that helps us to do good testing. And so that's about manual mobile testing. And so our requirements for test automation was, one thing was really it's important to execute the test in parallel. Because if you have a lot of different devices, a lot of different application versions, different devices and so on, if you would like to get fast feedback, it's important that you are able to run the test in parallel. And there are the kind of things that are driving this. And for the web, we have the following test infrastructure. That means we're using WebDriver to automate web tests, and we write our tests in Java, and they are just normal version control system. And if the tests are executed from the test developer machine, they are run, or the request is executed against the Selenium hub and the different nodes. And this whole Selenium grid node infrastructure is virtualized, and we run it on a VMware ASICs environment, and that allows us to run different browsers on different operating systems. And for us, it was the goal to plug in the solutions for mobile also in this kind of architecture. And so that was one of the things. And also because we're writing the tests in Java, what we do also is that in between we have API calls, we have database calls. So for example, in some of the tests, for example, if we're testing the eBay checkout, and we are listing an item up front via the API, that's very fast. And then we start from the new item page, for example, and then the flow is a little bit shorter. We have also tests that is going from listing to selling to the checkout. But for another test, we're using, for example, the API. This here, the dependencies are managed with Maven, and the test lifecycle is controlled by TestMG. And we have this continuous integration server, so that the test can also be kicked off from the CI server. And so for us, it was really important that the new framework could be added to the Selenium grid to run the automated tests in parallel. And one important thing, that we also can manage multiple applications, multiple versions, and also different languages. And I looked into different into the world of mobile testing frameworks on the open source landscape, and a lot of them you need to go to your app and need a small library. You need to add a small library. That means you need to add there a kind of HTTP server, and this is used to send commands to the app, so that then you can control the app and so on. And for us, we said, okay, we would like to, go another way. We would like to, the app itself should not be modified. So I haven't heard about any scenario where this led to problems, but we just have a better feeling in not modifying the app itself. And the other thing is, so in our team, there are software developers, but in the end, they are not Android developers. So they are also not web developers. They are just general developers, or not all of them, but most of them, But the thing is that writing tests should be as easy as possible. And so if you have your normal app, then you have static parts like if you have your item page, you know exactly what is displayed, but sometimes you have a kind of dynamic display. So if you have search results, then you need to investigate what's there. And sure, you can use in the environment something like hierarchy viewer, but it's my experience is very slow, and but there should be some way that makes it easy for the test developer to run tests in there. So that was kind of the list of requirements that we had. And then we started to work on this. And so we have different, maybe one comment about those different platforms. So we have products for different platforms, for mobile web, Android native app, and also the iOS native app. And those products are developed in different teams, and they have also different release cycles. That means in the end, currently in our team, we said, okay, we would like to use the best testing framework for each platform. So we have not one platform, one testing platform that we can use for all the different platforms. We just have different platforms. So for Android, for the mobile web, we use WebDriver. For Android native app automation, we use calabash-driver. And for the iOS native app automation, we use the iOS driver.
Do you create an entirely independent marketplace to emulate the real marketplace?
Sorry?
Okay, if you're talking about an auction closing, the user behavior, I'm sure statistically can be modelled quite well, but do you test taking stuff out of the production environment? Because obviously you shouldn't interact with the production environment, the real market out there.
So we test everything in the QA environment, and there we have also special testing tools that allows us to control the item life cycle and so on.
I think maybe this question was meant a bit different, or at least I didn't understand it different. I think maybe the question was, do you use synthetic test data on your test system, or do you use anonymized data, or do you use live production data?
No, we just, the first one.
Synthetic data,
Yeah.
so...
We just, the test engineer is thinking about what kind of scenario I would like to test, and then he just is creating this kind of data while going through the deciding flow, or for example, while going through the API.
Okay.
And so the test system is totally disconnected from the live system, and
So you could get emergent behaviours, say, I don't know, if you go to Super Bowl or something and everyone starts buying a hot dog, to take a ridiculous example. You could have real-world events that you haven't got modelled very effectively in your test environment, I guess. Emergent behaviours.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know how you instrument or set up that synthetic environment.
Yeah. So maybe we can take this offline and take it. Yeah. So coming back to the test automation framework, so we now I would like to show you how we automate the Android and native app, and for this we're using the open source project calabash-driver, and that's an open source project that was created by a company Less Painful. They have also a device cloud what they use, and for us it's important that we execute our test in our test infrastructure, because all the tests for the web and for the Winfield application are already also there. So for us it was important to run it in our environment. So we created the calabash-driver. It's also open source, and it integrates calabash-Android into the Selenium grid, and it offers a Java API that's similar to WebDriver. It's not the same, it's similar. If you look at the JSON wire protocol of WebDriver, we only have implemented the basic parts of the protocol that are needed so that the Selenium grid can handle the requests, and the rest of the stuff is the internal calabash stuff. And if you look at this from an architectural perspective, so I don't know if you can see the colors. So here, this part here, instrumentation backend, this component is coming directly from the calabash-Android project. So this is working in the following way. On your device, you install your normal eBay app and the instrumentation backend. It's called Test APK, and this is just a test project of this app. And the thing is that they have added the HTTP server to the test project. So in the end, you don't need to modify your app, and the only thing that you need to be careful is if, for example, your app has a different certificate, then maybe you need to re-sign the developer certificate or something like this, or the debug certificate. But that's the only thing that you need to do, and you don't need to add a special component if this is working. And so what I've written is this kind of calabash server. So if you're using emulators, then the calabash server component is running on the machine where the emulators are running and on the machine where the phones are plugged in. Calabash-driver is responsible for starting or installing the apps, and if the apps are started, then here the connection is done, and also if the corresponding commands are sent to the server, then they are rerouted to the app and to the instrumentation backend server. This whole component can be integrated into the Selenium grid, and on the client side, we have just a normal test and G-test, but we can also use JUnit, write your test in Java, and then you connect to the grid, and then automatically the right device is found. This is working in the following way. In the Selenium context, browsers or environments are described as capabilities. And so here, for example, I have two phones that are very similar. The only thing that's different is the locale. And so one phone is described with, for example, this kind of capabilities. Capabilities are a set of key value pairs, and it's in JSON format. So here, for example, you have the locale for UK, a special device ID, SDK version, and what kind of app you would like to test. And with this information, the nodes are registered in the Selenium Grid Hub. And if you write your test, you specify what kind of desired capabilities you would like to have. And then the Selenium Grid Hub is responsible for matching this and rerouting the requests. And so, and for writing, so now I would like to come more to the client perspective. So how to write automated tests and how to structure them. So in the web world, we have learned it makes sense to write these kinds of page objects. And what we also do, what we learned to handle this complexity with these 12 sites and these different features, they've introduced this kind of business flow objects. It's just something that encapsulates the flow itself. So we are using these flow objects and the page objects in the mobile world. We call these page objects dialog objects, but it's the same concept. So in the beginning we have the test. Here the test ng annotation, then a special annotation to specify what kind of platform app you would like to use. And then what we just do, we instantiate the flow and we are also passing some test data. What you also easily can do, you can use SNG data providers and just feed in the test data into the test method. So then the test method and all the different page objects are maybe I don't get the word, sorry. So then you can just pass in different test data that we use heavily in web, for example. A flow object is looking like this. So in the flow object we have then a kind of delegation to the different dialog objects. So in the beginning, for example, we have here the home dialog, then there's some user agreement accepted, then we're opening the search dialog, then we're searching for something, and then we are opening the sign in dialog, and then entering the user data and so on. And it means also that, for example, all the specifics, so for example, how to log in a user is encapsulated in this dialog object in this method. So, for example, this native ID to interact with the text field is, in this case, username autocomplete, and this name you will find only in one place in the whole code base, and that helps us to manage the complexity and makes it maintainable. And yeah, the same concepts are used in the web, and that makes it also easier for test engineers to get started with this. So if they are used to write automated tests for the web and they come to mobile, yeah, they can also easily reuse this what's already there or adapt it. And now I would like to show you video. So, what I would like to show you is I've also later on a small demo created for today, but I also wanted to show you a real world example from eBay. So that's, but I don't have access to all the environments here, so I have recorded a video up front. So what you see here is I have already 2 emulators running here. They are registered in the grid hub. So I have also written a kind of plug-in that are displaying what kind of capabilities are registered in the hub. And now here from the test.ng file, I'm starting the test suite. And what I'm expecting now that one test is looking like going to the eBay side, sign in a user, search for a certain product, and then also buy the product and pay the product with PayPal. And yeah, you see these kind of end-to-end tests are not the fastest ones, but for us, because in the end we can run the test in parallel, we still can save some time because yeah, and so now it's just the item ID is entered, so that the item was created up front via API. So there we have some kind of factories that in some cases are helping us to create these elements. During the flow, we are also verifying if things are displayed in the way how we expect them. And now there's an interesting part. So here, currently in this version of the app, the payment flow is done using a PayPal web view, and a lot of open source frameworks in the mobile testing fields are not able to automate web views. With calabash Android, it's possible to do it, and so you see maybe also that we are concentrating on the business critical end-to-end flows that our customers are doing. So we're really looking at this from an end-to-end perspective. We're not going to one dialogue and just automating this one dialogue or going to the unit testing level. We really look at the app from a black box perspective and use it how our customers would use it. And the other question is how to write robust automated tests. And we learned it's very important to use native IDs if they are there. So, for example, we use this in Android. The good thing is you have mostly these kind of native IDs, and they are really helping a lot because they are making it easier to automate the app in multi-local environments because the ID is always the same. You don't have to think about a special text. But also in some scenarios you don't have the ID, or the other thing is that the interaction with the ID is not working. Then we build in a kind of LTMN support. So that means that if you write an Android application, you can localize certain strings for certain locales, and if you write automated tests, it's hard to maintain this. So you can, in some way, copy this to your test project and work with this. But then, if something is changing, you just have done everything, and there's the extra complexity. So, what I've written is a kind of mechanism that you can reuse this source bundle that are in the app. So this is working in the following way that for example, what I'm saying here, so driver find LTN element, and then I'm saying, okay, what kind of locator I'm using. I'm using the title event details. So this is an LTN key in this resource bundle, and on runtime on the device, it's translated and the right text is taken. And that makes it really easy. And we have also a similar concept for in the iOS world. There we have also something like this. Yeah, now the thing is how you can make life of a tester easier, the normal test engineer, and there's a way, normally calabash Android is working in the following way, that you have a Java server that's working on the device, and normally in calabash Android the client is a Ruby client. And with this Ruby client you can write your test in Cucumber. So for us it's really important to write the automated test in Java, because we run all the tests in Java, and it's easier for the test engineers. And with calabash Android you can also, I've configured IRB shell, so there you can open the shell, then automatically the app in the emulator is started, and then you can try commands out. So you can say, okay, you can send testing net. For example, you can say press button A, and then you can see if it's working. And you see this dynamically, and you can see also if it's not working, you can try other commands. And this is really helpful if you have a long flow that's running, for example, for 4 or 5 minutes, and on the last step something is always breaking. Then you can just navigate, open with this mechanism the app, navigate to the right dialog, and then try things out. And the other thing that I've built is a kind of dialog runtime inspection. So you can just enter a certain command, and then you get a basic structure of the current display elements. You get the text and also the native IDs that you then can later on use for the test, for the automation. And yeah, as I already said, there's also a built-in support for web views that's there for default in calabash Android, and is also supported in calabash-driver. And yeah, so I've created a showcase. So there's an open source application. It's called Greenhouse. So it's nothing special. The guys from Spring Source created it some years ago, and it's just a Java server, and then you have an Android client and an iOS client, and then you can just see what kind of conference program is happening and so on. And so the I tried it. With the Android shell command, you can just the only thing that you need to specify is the main package of the application, and also the path to the main activity. You see in background automatically the app is started, and so you can now send commands. And I have also, just to make presentation a little bit easier, to execute commands, just use the method perform action, and inspector dialog, that's the name of the command in calabash-driver. And for example, now we would like to get the details about the current display dialog, and it's just an overview about the events. And now you see here, it's not nicely formatted. If I really am about to automate a long, complicated flow, then I just copy this kind of output, put it to the coordinator, format it, and then reuse it, copy it from there. But here you have, for example, the title, here the list item title, and so on. So you find really the details of the current display dialog, and it is in some way fast enough. And so the good thing is also that, for example, if you would like to press a button, you can just execute this command, and hopefully now it will be clicked, and so it works. So what I could also do, I could navigate to different, so I can use the emulator, switch to other dialogues, and then just try off and send commands, and that's working very well. And also one important thing is automating web views is really hard, because you don't know what kind of HTML is behind this web view. And calabash-Android offers you a way to dump the HTML and output it on console, so you can see what's there. And you can also use a kind of, so that there are CSS selector used to interact with the elements. And there's also a kind of query command where you can try things out. So that's really nice. And so testing is then really easy, and So in this showcase, you find, so everything is you find also everything on GitHub, so I will also later on upload the slides. And on GitHub there's also a description about how if you would like to try it out, what needs to be done to get started. And what you see here, so in the beginning I'm starting the driver, then I'm signing in the user. So here in this example I didn't have enough time to also create all the page objects. Here it's just a sequence of stuff, so only the sign in is in a special method. So here you see I'm waiting until the sign in button is there. Then I'm entering into the next field, then username, password, and blah 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 blah. And afterwards I'm going through the app, and so why I'm showing you now a different thing is that you see everything can also be executed without the Selenium grid. So you can use the Selenium grid for parallelized testing, but if you would like to just test normal up in normal way, then you can also use it in this way. So here in this example is also using web views. So this was a normal view, and now what you now can see, this is a web view. Very sorry that the field of resolution is not perfect, but you can probably try it out and see. And here in this example, I'm using also these admin keys to verify that some special text is displayed. So for example, here on the top, event details, there the translation is done on runtime. Yeah.
I may not have the point, I'm not a strong developer myself, but if I understand this rightly, your test instrumentation is dependent on the connection to the device. How do you test a connection failure?
That's something that we cannot test with automation. So the thing is that we test the normal. Thanks for the question. So we test the regression tests, and that's default test set. With this kind of test, we cannot test everything.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason why manual testing is so important. So
Okay, yeah.
this also can, so if you have, for example, a checkout test that I've shown you before of the UL site, so this is running, so this was, yeah, tuned up a little bit, so in reality it's running about 3 to 4 minutes. So it means that they're using test automation to also create screenshots, and they are integrated into the test reports. And then it's for us very easy to see, for example, if the text is fitting into the button and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then the test engineer doesn't need to click through everything and just look at the report, and then that's helping as well.
So you have like a rendering template that it should match, give them a pixel map or something like this? Or is it visual?
It's just that a test engineer is looking at it and it's saying, okay, is it right, is it wrong?
Okay.
It's just, and the thing is that, so just to show you, Calabash Android itself, it's very easy to extend, and that's also a strong point for the framework. So in the end, you have here your instrumentation backend, that's a normal Android project, and you have here your test server, and the important thing is that you have a package, it's called Actions, and what this framework is using is internally they are using Robotium. Robotium is in some way the kind of de facto framework for test automation in the Android world from an end-to-end perspective, but here you find now all the different commands. And for example, the command I executed before, so just inspect current dialog. If you would like what's happening here, you find here is the implementation. So there's a kind of interface that you implement. One method is there for giving the name for the command, and the rest, you're living in the context of the Android app. You can access through Robotium to have access to everything, to the context, to the view itself, and it's very powerful. And so that's also a thing that I like, and also some parts that I've done, I've given back to the open source community, so it has been added to the Calabash Android project, and so if you would like to download the code, you find it here on this URL, and for us the advantages of using the calabash-driver are we can use it to this, or we can integrate it into the Selenium grid, and that enables us to scale. And the big advantage is that the concepts for testing the web, Win32 applications, the mobile web, and the native apps are in the end the same, and it enables our testers to ramp up quickly for different technologies. And as I've shown you, calabash-driver also supports the interaction based on this localization resource bundle keys, and it's open source, so not everything is perfect. I'm still actively developing it, so it means that also if you look at the Calabash-driver, what kind of commands are in Calabash Android available and what is implemented in Calabash-driver, I've not implemented everything. So currently I'm following a lean approach, so I just implement the actions that I need. So from the basic architecture principle, it's possible very fast to add new commands. It's just, I do it if I need it, and if someone else needs it, it's very easy. And as a conclusion for us, it's okay. So we have different automation frameworks for mobile web, for iOS and for Android, and for us it's okay. And we have made good experience with virtualization, and that's really helping us to scale. And for manual mobile testing, it's important to buy the top devices, and our complete infrastructure stack is based on open source technologies, so you can reuse everything. Everything is out there. And yeah, with this I would like to thank you. And also, one comment: in Berlin we are hiring new mobile developers, so if you're interested, check out this website.
Simple question. When you say you've got to buy the top devices, where do you buy them from?
eBay.
eBay?
In the end, it depends. So the thing is that the manual mobile testing team is based here in Zürich, so they are buying it digitally.
What were the biggest pitfalls or challenges in setting up the test environment?
Still, working with the Android emulator.
So you need also strong hardware resources for the test framework, or could you run it on notebook?
No, you can run it on a, so we make better results to use Mac computers with at least 8 GB of RAM. One colleague used it on a Windows machine, but only with 3 GB of RAM. That was not enough. And yeah, this server infrastructure in Berlin, it's a huge system, and utilizing we can just add so many resources we need. So, but still, working with this long innovator, that's hard. But for us, so this decision, how many devices we use and how much stuff we test on little on innovators, we haven't decided yet finally, because if we would like to get fast feedback, it may be a good idea to buy for every country, for example, the Galaxy S3. If you have 12 sites, maybe it makes sense to have 12 devices. But at some point it costs a lot of money, and you need to maintain everything, and it's not our business to run a device grid. And so that's currently so that's not yet final, but one idea is to have maybe one device per country and test other countries then in virtual environment.
And another question, do you limit the screen sizes for your application, or do you support all of them?
Currently, I'm using the top 3 resolutions, but it's just I just have chosen the first 3 to have no explosion there. We need, so currently it's working, but yeah.
Just a follow-up question on the prior question about the device grid. I know Swisscom is looking together with eBay into integrating the grid into their hardware-based testing solution. Would you consider doing the automation with such a service, or would you rather prefer to still keep it on your side using emulators?
I think it's, for us, the hard thing is that if I'm running on test, and as I said, we're running them in the QA environment, so I need a special access to a special core network area. So I can't, if I would go to a public device cloud, the issue is always how I connect this company to the eBay core network, and that's the current issue, that I don't see that we get this approval that we can connect an external company to use our network. That's the current issue I see.
But if
In
that
general, if it On the other side, if we would have this kind of limitation, then why not?
So if that problem would be somehow solved, I don't know what they're exactly working on, I just know they're working on with Michael, but if that would be solved, it would, you would consider it as possibility.
But I think this kind of, my guess it's hard to get this approval, to get this access from an external company to the developer. So if you have an employee or a workforce or something like this, then you have a contract, it's something different than machines. I guess there will be some issues. So that we'll see.
Recently the emulator has got hardware acceleration features. Have you had any impact on the, or I think you had some impact or of these features for the performance of the emulator? Or don't you use the hardware acceleration features?
Not yet. So, but I have it on my list.
Okay. And the second question, not really related to the testing stuff, but you mentioned at the start the localization. What tools are you using to? I presume you have a localization department which is doing the translation. And what tools are you using to get them do the localization and keep it synchronized between your localizable files and the localization department?
So in the end, the localization department is working directly with the product teams together, and if we see that there's an issue, we also contact directly our colleagues. But so here in what I've shown, we are reusing the source bundles that are already in the app, and we are having not different ones. So we're just using the normal ones that are already in the app.
So your localization teams are directly using the strings XML, for example, not some other tools?
They're using some internal creative tools. So there is some, but this, I haven't used or looked at these tools directly. But yeah, they have some special tools. But it's something self-created, but I don't know exactly.
I have again a question. Have you looked into or have you planned to extend your testing to with another abstraction layer, so you would be able to write one test that could run on both on mobile platform, on native mobile apps with the different drivers and on the web? So just one abstraction layer above.
It actually exists. It exists. It's from Calabash. Like you can write it in Ruby and run it on Android and iOS.
That's called Cucumber.
Yeah, but still for us currently. I don't know if you use Cucumber with the calabash stuff or calabash stuff, then you can do something like this. But we still prefer to have in Java and with these page objects. And because we also use the native IDs, okay, this can be encapsulated into the page objects or dialog objects, but in the end, currently for us it's okay to have different environments. And currently, I don't see a benefit of having an extra layer, but maybe this will change. We'll see.
I've got two questions. How long are your regression tests running if you take the whole suite? And can you elaborate a second on your software development methodology? Because I see you're a separate testing department, so how do you collaborate with the product teams?
So, We have in the US a special department who is responsible for creating all the eBay apps. So in the end, we are an extra team that is, we are testing the mobile platform in Europe. The thing is that we're working with them. So we are, how to say, sorry. So my work is, I don't work very close with them together because I'm, creating the infrastructure, the framework, and so on. My colleagues are working with them closer together because they have the release cycles, and in the end, there are different products and different teams, and they are also having different methodologies. Some use Scrum, others are using Waterfall, so it's different.
Okay. But in general, the product team isn't writing the test, so there must be some kind of user story which you as a test team can relate to and write the test afterwards, right?
Exactly. So we have a kind of documentation. It's maybe the requirements in what form, and then we use the manual testing phase to learn about the product and so on. And the test suite, there I have no numbers, sorry.
Okay. Rough one?
No.
Really? Okay. Thanks.
If you're here tomorrow, I will give a code lab on Selenium with page objects on web page, and there I will also explain shortly in the beginning how we do it at Credit Suisse, and especially how we want to get closer again to the application developers to share and reuse artifacts we produce and what they produce.
So as I said, thank you very much for having me and for your good questions, and thanks again.